And now, straight out of Milwaukee, least talked about podcast in Wisconsin, Hypocritical, with your guides, Alexa MK and Shock the MoKE, MoKE, where we rant or vent or prove or disapprove of things that really, in the end, what happens?
They just don't matter.
Just don't matter. Yes. How you
I know.
doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Well, a couple things I'm wearing right now here. You can see I start out. Well, first of all, hat. Let's probably our last time we need to wear this hat is going to be today.
Oh, I see you got your V pin on your hat.
Yes, for your also yes. I'm trying to do victory for the. See, it's upside down like the horseshoe. No wonder they've been losing. The V's been upside down. The luck has been running out.
It's all Dave's fault.
They're going to go 4 games now in a row, never been done, and they're going to win. All right, so there's that. All right, also, I have my mask on. I wanted to show you this. This is our tie-dye masks we made.
Oh, very cool. You talked about that last time. That's awesome.
Yes, a couple other ones we did here.
I like those. Those are pretty awesome.
I have a matching one for this shirt, too. So
very cool. Very cool. I
wouldn't want to go out without a matching tie-dye shirt if I had a tie-dye mask.
Damn straight. You got to match. So.
All right. So what's going on with you?
Actually, I was going to ask you. You said you went to South Shore Farmers Market. I'm jelly. I wanted to go to Farmers Market.
Well, we've been trying to at least get out for our walks, on the weekend and everything like that. And, South Shore was just beautiful yesterday. So, and the Farmers Market was nice. They did a box system of it where everybody had arrows, so everybody moved in the right flow and everything. So they did a good job of it. And again, as I said, we had a barbecue. We sat down, which you wouldn't have enjoyed, I know. But, we sat under a tree by the water and looked out over at the sailboats and, and such like that. So it was very nice.
Well, I enjoy barbecue, just not meat. We actually had barbecue last night. We did it's like a vegan seitan. It's like these little chunky chunks of meat, and we put it's called hacks. It's the best barbecue sauce we've had, and so that's what we had for dinner last night. So there you go.
Chunks of meat. When you say chunks of meat, what kind of meat chunks?
Okay, so what is seitan? Seitan, not Satan. Seitan.
It's evil. That's what it is.
It is evil. All hail Satan. No, basically what it is it's called wheat meat, and it's very ancient. It was in China. They used to make it out of gluten, and they still do. So it's made out of what's called vital wheat gluten. What is vital wheat gluten? They take wheat and they wash away all the starches, which are your carbs, and all you're left with is the gluten, which is the protein. And then you kind of make this loaf like a bread, and you season it up. And you can either bake it or boil it or steam it or do some other things. It gives it different textures, and if the way you season it makes it taste like chicken, or it can have a little bit of a beefy texture. I wouldn't say a lot of a beefy texture.
It's a wheat tofu.
Tofu is cultured soybeans. So no, it's not a tofu, but it is a protein substitute for people who don't want to eat.
And it absorbs flavors. It absorbs flavors, probably,
yes,
right?
Yes, yeah. And you can marinate it, and it does different things, and there's different styles and types, and so they make it into deli meats and stuff like that. In fact, if I can find the picture before the end of the day, I'll put it up on the thingy. So.
So now I had food. Did you have any good foods or anything this last week?
Well, aside from the seitan, and we ordered from Herbivorous Butcher, so that's the picture I'm going to try to find. So I don't have this in the show notes, but since you asked about seitan, Herbivorous Butcher is a non-meat butcher. They make all seitan up in Minnesota, and they're out of Minneapolis. They're a brother and a sister, and they're kind of a boutique place. It's not cheap, but they make like steaks and sausages and deli meats and jerkies. But they're all.
For those of you who are not watching and listening, she's doing air quotes.
I am doing air quotes for all of those. But I mean, they're really tasty. They're a little pricey. They do make cheeses as well, Cheeze, because it's not really a cheese. But their cheeses I find to be delicious, but they're very expensive, and there's perfectly good commercial ones that you can buy, non-dairy cheeses. But their steaks in particular and their ribs are really good. So I would challenge a a meat eater to try some non-meat options, especially the better quality ones, because I think you'd be pleasantly surprised at the flavor. It's not like meat, but it's delicious. So there you go. But then the other thing we did,
burgers out there, man. So
yeah,
it's there.
yeah. So over on Highway 60 out near Mequon, Grafton, there is a little chocolate place called Sweet Trio, and I was craving frou-frou chocolate. So frou-frou chocolate is the high-end, expensive crap.
Right.
And
right. There's a place next to a pizza place that has some of that too. I love that. Oh my god.
Yeah. So those are the places when you're on vacation, you go and you spend too much money. Well, we're not on vacation. Well, I am kind of on vacation, but not really. And so I told Roger, I said, let's take a ride. Let's do something. Let's go get some frou-frou chocolate. So we went out to Sweet Trio and we drive up. And first of all, they have a sign that says one person only in the store. So I went in and I asked, I said, well, since we're a couple, can we both come in? And she said, yes, if you're together, that's fine. And she said, thank you for asking. So they're practicing very strict, COVID protocol, which I give them huge props for. The one lady who was in there, she was wearing a mask. She had her gloves on, because she was doing things. But then we just picked out our chocolates and we were eating them as we're driving home, and they were delicious.
How many made it home?
Everything pretty much made it home, but they had like these dark chocolate malted milk balls. Now, how do you like your malted milk balls?
You mean like small, large chocolate, milk chocolate?
Do you like them with a lot of chocolate, a little chocolate, a big one? How do you like your malted milk balls?
Coating wise? That's a good question. I haven't really, because to me, like the hard Whopper in the box, that's not enough chocolate, of course. But if you get them out of the bulk section at the store, there seems to be enough chocolate on those, So
to me, it's a malted milk ball, not a chocolate covered. Well, they are chocolate covered, but I mean, it says malted milk ball, and they're chocolate covered. But I don't like them when your malted milk ball is the size of a pea. The malted milk part. Right. But then the whole ball is like the size of a marble. And there's way too much chocolate. And I've gotten too many of those. They had a real nice sized malted milk center with a nice coating of chocolate. The balance was perfect. So we'll be back there for malted milk balls. But we got a variety of chocolates. They were all really delicious.
I made a little side note. I made a bad decision on a baseball game once. We were buying snacks to bring into Country Stadium back in the day, and we were bleacher creaturing it for $4 or whatever it was to go buy bleacher tickets out there. And we went to the grocery store, and I got the bulk Whoppers in a big plastic bag, and it was a sunny day, and that aluminum, it ended up being one big malted milk ball at the end of the day. There's just this sack of
it was malted milk morph.
Malted milk balls, yes.
Oh, yuck.
I wonder what I had really at the end of that. If I put it in the fridge and would have tried to eat it again.
Well, actually, if you would have spread it out on a tray, you probably could have broken it up and it would have been fine.
I would have just loved to have a cold one hard and just sit there at home.
Oh, jeez. like a little 10-year-old, hey?
Yeah. When the kids used to get those you would call them almost like the everlasting gobstoppers.
Yeah, the big ones that were like bigger than a golf ball, smaller than a hard ball.
Yeah, we'd see them sitting around. The kids would send them down because we'd put them in a plastic bag at least, so they wouldn't be having it on their hands the whole time while they're licking it, trying to get to the center on one side.
Oh, you had to put that whole thing in your mouth. It was like, oh.
It's a cue ball, yeah. And then, so we'd see them later, but I'd wash them and re-put them in a new bag, for the kids, because I'm like, oh my gosh, what kind of foul things are in this bag now, You got Lido up?
We have a buddy.
Yeah, I have three cats here at Chrissy's house, and none of them are coming to visit at all.
Lito decided to say hi.
Yeah, Lito.
Yeah. Oh, now he's rubbing around on my lap. So yes, you're a good boy. See, we have.
All right. Well, since I know it's been a really nice summer, and I'm the only one that stays inside and watches TV, you're gonna have to catch up on some things now coming up this next week. That's for sure.
Oh my goodness, we'll see, because I'm camping this week, so.
Of course you are.
Yeah, I know. We've been watching the weather forecast. It does not look
You don't need to
promising.
go to like Washington State or Oregon because it came to us for the next week.
It certainly did. We're watching. I might just sit in a tent where it's quiet and just watch the rain. I don't care.
That's there you go. Here, let it hit the tent. So I did watch a couple things. I kind of got into. Remember, I was in my cannibal kick last time
Yes.
somehow. All right, so I got into a superhero kick because guess what started yesterday that I haven't started watching again yet?
The
The Boys.
boys. I know we haven't
Yeah.
started watching it yet either. We're gonna do that when we come back.
I was like, I got up early and I could have started watching it, but I'm like, no, because then I'm gonna have to stop.
Right?
So no, I didn't want to start watching it, and so yeah, yesterday. So, but I did fill my void, since Umbrella Academy is gone right now, and I watched all that. I saw one called Alter Ego and another one called All Superheroes Must Die. Now, Alter Ego was kind of fun because it kind of was a guy who thought his girlfriend was cheating on him because she was cheating with his superhero character. So I kind of enjoyed that whole thing but it's you. The guy's like, but it's you. How could she be cheating on you? What, you don't think she notices? No, it's all different, And
Oh
so
my
there was
goodness!
this,
Kind of like a spoof on the Lois Lane with Superman and Clark Kent.
and
Yeah.
just moving the cowlick over, taking off glasses. Oh my God, it's Superman! What? Oh, he's gone. Oh, okay. So
Clark, how'd you get here?
and it had a good little side backstory, which was interesting enough, for a B movie version of this, which is great. So I mean, I think the one guy's, they made it the superpowers not something they needed special effects for. I think the one guy's was that he could just look through walls, see through anything. So we got one of those X-ray ones.
Oh,
X-ray
okay,
guy.
yeah. Well, there you go.
So they didn't really need a lot of special effects for that. So it was a good kind of fun story. I'd go with that. All Superheroes Must Die, though, very B movie. Guys, super villains got it out because every time I'm ready to take over the world, you guys have to come and mess it up. So he had them on some kind of training ground, to kill each other because he was gonna make sure that they didn't have the outright
Okay.
outcome because he says I never did. But it was very bad. It was bad. So they avoid that one. Avoid that one.
That's not worth our time. Thank you for watching that for us and letting us know.
And then I did, because I needed something to fill the void as well, I did start watching that Hunters with executive producer Jordan Peele. Al Pacino's in it, the Nazi hunter thing.
Yeah, that looked really good. How was it?
And right away when I'm watching it, and like one of the first main scenes comes around with death in it, I'm like, oh, they're kind of like, okay, this isn't going to be like a historical thing, or what I mean, or loosely based on that much, because it was really, because again, it was very comic bookish, very graphic novel,
Okay, cool.
and the feel of it all of a sudden. So then my brain kind of turned to more of that feel on the show. And so I enjoyed it a little more. And I actually, after it, I started reading some reviews, and people aren't getting that part of it. They're not getting the joke yet.
They're not. They're taking it seriously.
Yes, they're looking at based in fact, and I think they're looking at thinking of more of a loosely based documentary, with Al Pacino, and but not expecting this. So I think go into it with a little different eyes than that. I mean, Pulp Fiction, when it first came out, and I'm in the theater and I'm watching it, and all of a sudden I started to giggle, and I went like, oh my gosh, it's a black comedy. I didn't know it was a black comedy. All of a sudden I was very much more relaxed about laughing at it and enjoying it, But at first I was like, oh my gosh, should I be enjoying the humor in this or not?
Am I touched? Is there something wrong with me?
Yeah, what's those Venn diagrams, where it has that, jokes that'll send me to hell, jokes I like, I'm, in there,
Right,
much,
yeah.
Right, the whole thing covers it, yeah.
Yep. Since you mentioned comic books and graphic novels, all right, I had, I was like at work and I was extremely bored doing my job because sometimes my job that I do is pretty repetitive. So, I've got to have a brain thing going on all the time. Sometimes it's just challenging myself to go faster at work, and sometimes it's Okay.
Efficiency. Yeah, how much
Efficiency.
can I make this more
Right?
efficient?
But I'm sitting there thinking because I'm looking at all my coworkers because they're all characters in and of themselves and they're wonderful people and they're all different. And that's what I love about working where I'm working. So I'm thinking, oh, how would I, because I'm a costume designer, I'm a fashion designer, so I'm looking at this person saying, oh, she would look great in this, and then I'm looking at this other person saying, oh man,
You
this
know, most
streetwear would
people
look really
undress
cool.
their coworkers at work. You're
Okay, no, no,
dressing your
no.
coworkers at work.
So I'm noticing in my head, like how I'm dressing some of these coworkers are like they're in a graphic novel or a comic book. So what I did is I walked up to my coworkers, and this was a really fun little conversation starter with people. Uh, Graphic novel, comic book, or anime. Would you be a good guy or a bad guy? So what would your answer be?
Oh man, boy, that's good. Graphic novel.
Well, you don't have to. Just
That
out of all of them, would you be a good guy or a bad guy? If you were in a character in
No,
something.
see, no, because there's too many anti-heroes, right now. I mean, like
Okay.
when you started, what was the show with Michael Chiklis, the cop,
Yeah.
uh, and Breaking Bad. It's hard to be say you're not the hero and villain anymore.
See,
I
now
really
one of my
like those
coworkers said
characters.
they wanted to be the anti-hero. They said this is what she told me. She said, normally I would be a good guy because I don't think I could be a bad guy, but she said if I'm a good guy, I have too much responsibility and I don't want all that responsibility. So I want to be an
Exactly.
anti-hero.
I want to be perfect with flaws.
Yeah. Yeah, she wanted to be a
Yeah.
good person who could be human. So I was like, I thought that was really cool. So what would you'd be
That's
the
exactly it.
anti-hero?
Yeah, that's the whole thing, man. Love those characters when they're done well.
Okay,
You
well then
know.
that has to be the question. Good guy, bad guy, anti-hero. Because you're the second person who said anti-hero. Most people chose good guy or bad guy, and
Well,
it was
the
really
anti-heroes,
surprising.
that's hedging the bet. See, that's like I don't believe
It's
in God, but I'm
cheating.
going to pray on my deathbed. You know what I mean? That's what anti-hero is. It's like no, I want to be the guy everybody loves, but I still want to be able to be an asshole on the side.
Deadpool.
Exactly. There you go. There you go. And then because I love him so much, that's who I want to be.
Wait, wait,
No, I
wait.
just want to be
All right.
Ryan Reynolds, and then I can play Deadpool too.
Ah! I just dropped him. And his arm probably fell off. It did. Alright, I gotta put Deadpool back together. Actually, no, I'll show you Deadpool with his arms off because
No,
that's even
that's how he
funnier.
usually looks anyway.
So I'm gonna put him back together though. Yeah, that's one of our Deadpool things. I've got all these toys. It's like stupid.
Yeah, I love the Deadpool for sure.
Oh yeah. So what do we got? Oh, we're kind of gonna go into internet adventures. So I didn't do my foods and fest. So I got to do my bubbles. I don't have my bubbles up. So we're just doing that part of it. We're so what would you say, professional.
Well, yeah. We get post production. We get our PA on there.
Yeah, no, we don't do post. You what you see is what you get. So yeah, there we go.
So you want me to sing while you're fixing him or something, or
Yeah,
dance? Or
there.
there you go. There it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
we have
good. You got the
Deadpool.
sword and everything. All right.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's Deadpool. Anyway, okay. So internet adventures. So I've found this little app that I've been playing with. You interested in airplane flight at all?
No, no, but I have read the little articles every once in a while on gamer magazines or gamer corners where they talk about the flight simulators and how
Yeah.
they've re-released this one. I think that you're talking about.
Yeah, actually,
So
it's not. That's the Microsoft one. I didn't do that one. So I live kind of like underneath a flight pattern. So we hear planes going over all the time. Little planes, big planes, military planes. So
a
I
lot of stuff goes over your head.
pretty much, yeah, it does. So anyway, we've got things going over my head, and so I finally downloaded this little app called Flight Radar. It's called Flight Radar 24, and it's really kind of cool because you look at it, and it's become kind of like my zen before I go to bed. Because I go to bed early. I go to bed at like 8:30, and so there's a lot of flights coming in and out of Milwaukee, and so you
Oh, it's
click
that
on
kind
it.
of a flight thing you're watching.
Yeah, yeah. So it's almost like
Traffic.
Yeah, it's air traffic. So you see it and it's like, okay, I hear something going over to, what is that? Oh, that's going to Denver, or you watch it and like the other thing was, it shows you if you don't have, because I asked my daughter because she's in the process of getting her pilot's license. Not
Wow.
everybody turns their flight whatever it is on so that this can see it. So I don't know how the air traffic controllers see some of the stuff. I think it's just radio, but most of them are on there, especially all the commercial stuff. But there were helicopters flying around. So one day, Homeland Security was flying around when they were doing some of the protests downtown, and so it did say Homeland Security, and it was a helicopter. So it's
It
kind of
did.
cool. Shows you the path. It does like if it's flying around Milwaukee, if it's just
Well, if it was labeled, move along, nothing to see here, then I'd have a problem. But if it's at least labeled SWAT team or
yeah, then you
FBI,
don't have a problem. Well, a lot of them are private owners, so it's like when the Kenosha protests were going on, and some of the nights of the riots, there were helicopters flying over Kenosha, and they said private owners. So I don't know whether that was.
oh yeah,
Uh,
chartered. Yeah, it could be chartered stuff.
I don't
Yeah,
know if it was like news
commandeered.
stations. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But I know that the Chicago Police Department, because you can see them down in Chicago. I mean, this is global. You can look at airports anywhere in the world. This is global, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, it's just one of those things. So that's one of my weirdnesses. My other one, I don't know if you saw this about the fluid art. Did you see that?
No.
So fluid art on YouTube. So fluid art is really cool. So if you want to be really zen and watch something really kind of cool, the new trend is like fluid art. And I would love to do this, except that I don't know where I
Oh,
would.
you mean okay? So yeah, no, we're just with the people who are putting it on the pictures and they're putting it through strainers or spinning it
Yeah, well, it's not spinning it,
putting
but
the
yeah.
holes and the yeah. No, I've watched a lot of those. Yeah, because I'm an epoxy fan, so I start
Yeah.
watching epoxy table stuff, and then they go into the fluid arts, and
Yeah,
and I'm
so the fluid
it's all the
art.
same
So
stuff, man. Yeah.
So if you want to do fluid art, I mean, or just watch the videos because the videos are really fun to watch. What they do is they take like and they lay down a base, like whether it's black or white. I suppose they could use another color. Most of them are black or white, and then they do different methods where they pour colors, and then they put like silicone and stuff in so it'll pop and it'll make bubbles and it's like all this really cool abstract art. I just thought it's really fun to watch, but where do you sell these paintings? Everybody's doing it and it's super
Everybody's
easy.
got them. Yeah, I know. Who's the big artist that's got it? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's
But
it's
it's
yeah.
fun if you want something to watch that's relaxing. If it's got annoying music, just turn the music off. But just watch some of these because there's ones where they take like those little like chains, those ones you remember those keychain balls that would all come down and then they and they'll pull them and they make really cool designs. So I'm just telling
Right,
somebody
right.
if you're
I
if
saw
you're
someone
looking
do
to
like a flower. I saw someone do like a make irises almost and
yeah
stems. Just all
yeah
that just by putting those in and pulling
yeah
them and and yanking them across but yeah, even like the guy with the that puts the colors in a paint can and puts the holes in the paint can. And then you let the paint can pendulum swing and you
yeah
get that spirograph look on a
yeah
picture. So yeah, no, those are very fun.
yeah.
Yeah, I've certainly zoned out to those on many occasions.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and then there's also Mandela art, but that's another one. So it's like they make these little dots, and it's like,
right, right,
that's it.
right.
There's my Zen. What can I say? So and then do you use Wikipedia?
Oh yes, and when they ask for money, I give them a $3 to throw in the hat because I do use them. You know what I mean? I don't find them an uncredible source, and they've, it's they're a joke because oh, you've read my Wikipedia if you meet someone.
Right. Yeah. So there is a Wikipedia in a bunch of different languages. So there's Wikipedia in Japanese, there's Wikipedia in Russian, there's Wikipedia probably even in like I'd say, some odd languages. And one of the Wikipedias that's out there is Scots, Scottish Wikipedia with Scottish, entries with Scottish language. So you would assume that that's credible if the person who had been doing it for almost a decade, right?
Yes, no. Yes,
Uh,
yes.
all
But there is
right.
no oversight on it, isn't it? Is it?
There is
If one guy,
oversight.
the whole thing about the Wikipedia is that everybody's contributing and checking it out and redoing it and revising it. If you've got one guy doing it, that's his history then.
So, about 10 years ago, somebody started actively editing the Scots Wikipedia. Um, and nobody really checked him. And he was not vetted. We're laughing now, but it's actually not funny. So it's basically he did a lot of cultural damage. So what he did,
Oh
and wait
no.
wait until I tell you. So what he would do is there were certain phrases that sound very English. So what he was doing was taking English, like King's English from England, and substituting Scottishisms in for whatever. They weren't
So
accurate.
all they said was brilliant.
They weren't accurate.
Everywhere.
No, it wasn't brilliant. And except unless you think that the editings of a 12-year-old and up was brilliant. This
He
person was
started 10 years
12.
ago when he was 12.
He started when he was he's almost 20 now or 21. So maybe like 9 years ago. But he actually they finally started realizing because there were people saying this isn't correct, scholars and people who were actual speakers of the Scots language, because the Scots language is a very difficult language and it is a cultured language. So they figure more than 60% of the Scots Wikipedia has been edited incorrectly.
He was a busy guy. He kept at it.
Something like over 10,000 articles he edited.
Oh
And
my.
here's the kicker: because he had been at it for so long, you have to be kind of like on a board to be able to approve or deny corrections. So when people would correct it to the actual speech, he would take their corrections down and put his back in. So the
Are there
thing
kids
is,
walking around thinking the wrong thing? Because I mean, this is a whole kids schooling generation that went through there. Two of
well,
them,
now
two
he
4 year schools.
realizes what he did was a lot of damage, and he's sorry about it, but now what do you do? I mean, you've got a whole like resource on the internet that's completely screwed. So be careful with some of the internet stuff, even what you think might be credible, because you don't know. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Oh my gosh.
speaking of weird stuff on the internet.
That's funny. Yes. Oh no. Well, we were kind of touched on this a little bit before. The Mandela Effect.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
you think something. I took a quiz. I live in an alternative reality, which again, I've been tough for me to admit, but now it's staring me at the face because I only got like 4 out of the 16 right or something. Little things like how long the Curious George's tail. He
Well,
doesn't have.
and yeah, he doesn't have a tail. But this started because we were talking about Shazam last week, but it wasn't the Shazam we were talking about. So then I told you, hey, Shazam Fury of Gods is coming out. And you went, wait a minute. And you went, Mandela Effect. So this is kind of how this conversation started because
Right, because
Shazam.
there's everybody thinks that Sinbad, the comedian, was in a movie called Shazam, when really it was Shaq who was in a movie called Kazam. So
Yeah, and so
that's
your
kind
brain
of
does this weird stuff.
right, moves everything around and everything like that. But what are the big things too? Like even from Star Wars, you were doing that. It's not Luke, I'm your father. It's just I'm your father. Luke is never in there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, because he never
You
says his
know,
name. He just says, I am your
right, right,
father.
right. The hello Clarice. He never said in Hannibal. He never said hello Clarice. He said good morning. So it's like we make up some stuff, and it's actually Smokey Bear is his real name, not Smokey the Bear. Apparently, it's Smokey Bear.
Well,
Bear is his last
give a hoot, don't pull a hoot.
name. So I failed that whole thing. I mean, Skechers not having a T in it. I could have swore there was a T in Skechers.
No, no. And here's the thing. So this brings back when my daughter was like in fourth grade, fifth grade, and they were doing um, a like Christmas quiz, and they said, What is the horse's name in Jingle Bells? So do you know what the horse's name is in Jingle Bells is?
No.
The horse has no name in Jingle Bells. They never
Oh,
say the name. But
they never say.
Rhiannon got it wrong on her quiz because they thought that bells on bobtail ring. Do you know what a bobtail is? A bobtail is when they take the tail and they
It's
go
a
like this
braided
and
tail.
they
Yeah.
tie it up, and that's a
Yeah.
bob's tail. Well, they thought the horse's name was Bob. Bells on Bob's tail ring. So she got that one wrong, and I argued with her damn teacher, and they wouldn't take it. So it's like, oh my goodness. Like, really, you're going to, yeah. You guys, and these are teachers, right? Critical thinking people.
That goes down. That goes down with the misheard lyrics. That belongs in that. With
Yes.
yeah, there's bathroom on the right.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
So,
Alrighty.
but no, yeah, it's like for a long time too. All the names of the reindeer. If you look in the old book, it's not Donner, it's Donder. It's Donder is original. So I don't know where that got changed either.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yes, I picked up on that once.
Interesting.
Now I'm hip to be square on that. So.
All right. Well, like I said, I don't have bubbles today, so we're gonna move over to Is This Critical? There, we got our bubbles. So, what? Are you a loser?
Hey, baby. No, I'm sorry. I wasn't in the
Yo
military.
soy perdido. I'm a loser, baby. So why don't you kill me?
That's still, this is bozo nightmares. What my time is a piece of wax that's fallen on a termite that's choking on the splinters. There, I think I got it. That little phrase.
Soy un perdedor. I said, yeah.
But the losers part again, boy, this Trump, and here's the article that I got, which makes it clear. If we can have this article about him disparaging the military, and he can say no, that wasn't me, it's fake and it's wrong. If Obama had said it, or Carter had said it, or Clinton had said it, or Bush had said it, we'd all go, well, there's no evidence that he ever says anything like that. So you're right, it's a fake story. No worries about it. But the guy that we have in charge, our military commander, disparages people all the time. I know more about ISIS than the generals do, things like that. Calling McCain a loser, say, I like my guys that didn't get captured. What a dick. This is your commander in chief,
Well, see, you're not on Reddit. I'm on Reddit regularly. Hi, Lito. I'm on Reddit regularly, and there's a lot of best of threads that actually go through, and what they do is they list all, like if they're going through stuff like that, what did Trump do to disparage the military? What did Trump do to, his con man things, his ties with Russia? They'll have whole lists of it with sources.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Just lately, I think last night or tonight, somebody did back up the story, it seems like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've got that going for us.
Well,
hey, hopefully 60 days and counting.
Yeah. I know. Well, since we're talking about that, I'm going to show this little picture.
Are you also going to vote early and vote often like the president?
Yeah, I know. So I'm showing a picture. I don't know if you saw this picture in it was in the drive, but I'm showing a picture of a boat. This is in Texas. They had a
trumpflotilla.
Yeah, trumpflotilla. Well, this is the little boat sinking because all the big boats were creating a wake on a no-wake lake, and apparently 4 boats sunk. And this isn't the first time it happened. It also happened out in Oregon. So there is your, I guess, what would you say, in a nutshell, the little guy gets swamped by the big guy, and still these people will support him. That's pretty much it.
That is great.
I mean, it's bad. Look at all these Trump flags, and not an American flag to be seen, just Trump flags. So,
and they still want to be part of it. Yeah,
it's stupid.
I like being in his wake. I like being in their wake.
Yeah, so it's like, it's bad. So.
Yeah,
it's
so
crazy.
Summerfest, beautiful. Yes, we're actually going to have you think this is it then? This is what they're going to do from this point on in the
You
rest of
know,
the
it's
history of summer?
interesting. What do you think about this? Because what they're going to do for 2021, for anybody who doesn't know, um, provided we're over COVID, because we're not out of the woods yet. Provided we're over COVID, they're going to do 3 consecutive weekends, Thursdays to Saturday. They're not going to do Sunday, so it's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. June 24th through 26th, July 1st through 3rd, and July 8th through 10th in 2021. And they say that it's going to get them better acts, allow more people to attend. What's your take on this? Because I don't go to festivals like that.
Everything you just said was the reason why I don't want it to happen. For the exact reasons you just said. I don't want more major acts because they bring more people. And now you're cramming into a smaller amount of days. I don't like going there on Fridays and Saturdays. There's 100,000 people there on Fridays. I go during the week. I get there at 3. We bounce around all day. I see 6 bands before 7 o'clock. One time I saw Tommy Two-Tone, Berlin, Molly Hatchet. I mean, it was like, that I'm not going to see anymore. That's gone.
You got your
And the
smorgasbord.
local guys. And we're pushing out the local musicians now, too.
I agree. I agree.
About this.
See, this is my take on it, and I know there are people
You need
who love.
1 week in there. You need a whole week in there. You need the whole week in there. You need a week of it.
Yeah, and I knew they were taking that Monday off to clean up and stuff, which I really, I thought that was a good idea. But the last time I went to Summerfest, we went, I think it was a Thursday night. I don't know how close it was to, because they always do it, what is it, the third week of whatever, and they changed that now too. But it's like, it was a Thursday night. There were a lot of people there. We went to go see Brian Setzer Orchestra. Yeah, I love Brian Setzer. And he was kind of hot at that point.
Side note, I saw Phantom Rocker and Slick at the Casio Put Away. Watch those guys. So his compadres.
Nice. But so
Phantom. Yeah.
So we go to see it, and my husband and I are vertically challenged. We're not very tall. So, and I hate crowds. I absolutely hate crowds. I don't go to Summerfest. I don't go to State Fair. I don't go to crowded festivals at all. I go to the, moderately attended festivals. I don't dislike being in a crowd. I just don't like crowded crowds. So we find our little area off to the side, and, we're watching. All of a sudden, 2 people who are almost 6 feet tall, the man and the woman, stand in front of my husband and I. Stand in front of us. The short people. And then the lady steps back on my foot. And I looked at my husband and I said, we're leaving. We're never coming back. And I have not come back to Summerfest since, because people are rude. They're drunk. They spill beer on you. They're smoking. There's just way too many people. And that's why COVID's okay with me, because it's I just avoid people. I got that in my blood.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I'm with you. Die.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
No,
so
I would really like to see at least a Thursday to Sunday. I mean, that's what I would rather see. What I mean, and so people go down there at lunch in the afternoon and get in the $3 tickets in the afternoons and roam around. You can bring the kids down there for the strollers if you want. You're not going to get that now. You can't bring a family down there if it's only on the weekend. It's just too hard.
And the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning that all of those people could go, now they can only go on Thursday and Friday morning. So all of the people who would go during those kind of off times, because they want a more chill experience, they're not going to go at all. So I don't know how well this is going to work out for them. So we'll see. And we're just a couple of old coots, so who knows?
Yeah, I know. I got to find a new one. I got to see what Kadot's about or something.
There you go.
Maybe there.
There you go. We've been watching YouTube concerts, so concerts on YouTube. So that's also a thing you can do. Who knows?
A lot cheaper.
Yeah, it is cheaper. So our governor, Evers, has been recalled. Did you see that?
Yeah. They're starting to get the signatures. What do they need? 60,000 though, or something like that.
I thought it was I thought it was 700,000.
Oh, yes, that
670,000. I don't think they're going to get it, but we were driving around Okachi last weekend, and there was somebody on the corner. Of course, these people had no masks, no distancing. Apparently, that's no problem. So, so yeah, but
Let me lick my pencil for you. Pen to
yeah.
right. Oh, pencil not working. Here you go.
Yeah. So this is how and with those you know they're going to get signatures from Mickey Mouse and Bernie Sanders. I just had to put that in there. But yeah, so Governor Evers, because they're saying he's a do nothing governor. Pretty much that's kind of what they're saying, that he's not moving fast enough or doing things fast enough. But he called a special session on police reform. How did that go? What do you think?
In and out. Yeah. No. No.
Yeah.
It's because how many times has that happened to him? No.
Two
Three
or three
times.
now, yeah. The Republicans gavel in, gavel out, because Robin Voss and Scott Fitzgerald feel that they don't need to do their job because they're collecting a paycheck. It doesn't matter, and all those people who are on unemployment who we can't, seem to fix the problems. We need the legislature to come to the table and actually do some things because Evers can't even sign a bill if there's not one passed. So if we don't have a legislature in session, what can he sign? All he can do is give executive orders, which he does, and then they turn around to the Supreme Court and knock them down. So they are actively working against him. So, apparently, let's recall the governor who can't do anything because we're not allowing him to do a damn thing. Let's tie his arms behind his back, beat him with a stick, and then throw him out of office. Oh my goodness. That's my out loud voice, by the way.
That's a good rant.
Yeah. So, and then the last one. Did you see the Ron Johnson quote? Did you see that at all?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, he is so hot and cold with what he says on things, but it's the fact that he still has that side in him to roll. Just falling in line. He's one of the Trump votes.
Oh, Ruski Ron, yeah. So I remember when he got voted in, I said he was very punchable. Yeah, he's very punchable. So his quote was, for people who did not read this, after the Kenosha, incidents happened, he said, the way you stop the violence, the way you stop the rioting is you surge manpower and resources, citizen soldiers, National Guard, and you overwhelm the number of rioters. Somebody please explain to me what the hell a citizen soldier is. Was it the guy, Kyle, who shot, 3 people, 2 are dead? Is that a citizen soldier? 17-year-old from across the border.
We should just get a bigger mob. That's what he's just said. We just need to get a bigger mob.
No, what he did is he declared civil war. He's saying, well, call in the National Guard, and they're military. They got to do what they're told. They can't do whatever. And the other thing is so you're going to tell these people to come in, these militiamen to come in, these citizen soldiers to come into our state from out of state, because that's where they're coming from. Even the Kenosha cop, who I have no love for, said that. They're going to come in from out of state, shoot at our people while the police shoot at everybody, and we're just going to have a big-ass civil war? Is that what you want? Because that's what that says. You are calling for violence, you are calling for chaos, and you still want to be in office when you do nothing but, funnel whatever the Russians want you to funnel along with your buddy Trump? No, give me a break. I'm over it. I'm just a little irritated with that.
Sounds like you're over it. Yes, it does.
I'm not over it. I'm irritated by it. If I was over it, I wouldn't even be talking about it. I'm talking about it because it's pissing me off. It's like, to them, it's like, oh, all lives matter unless they're below us, and then none of them matter. You
don't have a call to arms. You can't have a citizen soldier. You can't let somebody think that that's a possibility.
No.
Can't swear. Like that guy you were talking about. He said swearing into deputies. Why would I'm not swearing anybody into deputies.
Well, and the thing is, online, these people who are, doing this, coming in with their firearms and stuff like this, they're starting to get called cause patriots, Al-Qaeda. It's like, and it's accurate.
Yeah, the guy that was in charge of
it,
700,000. Did you see this? The lawyer that was in charge of the $700,000 fund to help Kyle has stepped down because of conflicts of interest. Yeah, because he's a crook too. Apparently, he's got all kinds of lawsuits on him. He's stolen money from people where he's done this before. I'm like, there you go, birds of a feather.
Yeah, exactly. So I am so tired of this. We need to have leadership that calls for peace and calm. We need to have leadership that calls for conversation. We need to have leadership that calls for, like Evers did, a conversation so that we can get police police reforms in so that police are held accountable when they do something wrong, but that, there is, a protocol so we know we can say, yes, you did something wrong. Now we're going to hold you accountable. Because not all police are bad. It isn't, fuck 12 all the time. But there are enough bad police and there's enough crappy police culture that we need to weed that out. And that comes from systemic change. And that's everything.
Well, hey, what did the Untouchables? Sean Connery said when he wanted to build the Untouchables with Elliot Ness. He says you can't go get you got to pick an apple fresh from the tree. You can't get one of the rotten ones that's in the buckets already. So this stuff has to start at the beginning at the police academy. And again, I go back to the force, which I'm sure this is really bad, and there's going to be a lot of no, you can't be like that. But I think this is what we got to do. They have to be trained like the military are trained, which again we let them slide on some of these things.
Well, they are militarized, just not trained.
You can't be shot. You can't shoot until you've been shot at. You cannot shoot until you've been shot at. And and unfortunately, the police job right now, a cop that's a cop now is like, well, I'm not going to go with that. Kind of. Well, that's because you were never trained, or that wasn't the main focus of your whole upbringing and how you're going to be a cop. If that starts at the beginning with that being the thought, you're not going to shoot until you've been shot at. Then you pick a bunch of different ways to de-escalate stuff. You learn better ways to de-escalate if you know you don't have that option.
To that point, we talk about that. That's the police reforms. The other thing is defund the police. And people don't understand defund the police. Defund the police means that when you have somebody who's in distress with a mental health issue, you don't call in the police who end up tasing or shooting somebody. You call in mental health professionals. And, if the police are the first responders and they see somebody's in mental distress, they should be the one to call in. Okay, we need our mental health people here to help.
A nice warm fuzzy way to think of it. It's not defunding the police. It's moving some of the money that was at police into a different organization, which we feel is better equipped to handle the situation.
Reorganizing the budget, reorganizing priorities. But that's what that means. And so for people who think that defund the police means we take the police away, no. Police need to start from ground up. Everybody should need to reapply for their job and be retrained. And they can do this in waves. They don't have to do it all at once. And then they can turn around and they can pluck those bad apples, because the bad apples aren't going to want to be there. And the ones that are, they can look at their records and say, well, you know what, we're not going to rehire this person. They've had one too many complaints and they've fired their firearm one too many times to be out in the field. And you start fresh, but not completely, because obviously you can't have nothing. But I think that would be a reasonable way to go about it. It's just that you need to have laws in place and procedures in place to be able to do that. And if we can't even get our legislature into the chambers to be able to discuss this, nothing's going to happen. But then you can call it a do-nothing governor, because nobody is actually doing anything. So he can be blamed for do nothing because he can't do anything until they do their job. So I don't know.
Just sitting on them.
Yeah.
All right.
So from my rant to MoKE's rant.
All right.
So Dave, what you got going on?
Right. So people love to talk about when they buy a car, right? I mean, it's just it's pulling. I'd rather go to the dentist,
No. See, I love cars. I love looking at cars. I love talking about cars. That's just
it. That's why we as salespeople don't like you. I like looking at them, No, just talking about them. No,
I buy cars. Are you kidding me? I love cars.
But.
Give me more money. I can buy more cars.
Again, like anything, it's people aren't educated when they try to go in. They think there's some shell deal going on, and people are like, well, they're always lying to you. And I go, okay, when you walk on the lot, and I say, good afternoon, how can I help you? And you say, I'm just looking. That's the first lie that's told, because you're not just looking. You're out there for a reason. So who starts lying to whom, Mr. Customer? So,
okay. Anyway, Dave used to be a car salesman, just so you know.
Yeah, right. So here I come in. My daughter had a 3-year lease on a Kia Soul. I told her I like those vehicles. I'm going to buy it out from you at the end. The lease buyout was already, I could tell, was going to be at a good wholesale number. She was going to put less miles on it, and that we had scheduled for. So nice deal. So So at the end of the lease, which just came up, I'm getting out of my Corolla that I've had for 10 years and 200,000 miles, my Toyota Corolla, 200,000. So it's halfway. Yeah, it's about halfway there. And so somebody else can get the next 100,000 on it. So I'm taking to take over her Kia. So I'm going to finance it now, buy it out of the lease. So I already know what the payoff is. All right, it's already in the lease agreement. So I know that's the amount. They also Kia sticks you with $250 on the way out. Like, oh, we're not going to get you on a new car. Here's $250 to buy our old one out. Okay, whatever, fine. So then it's just all about financing this amount, right? So I go into the dealership where I got it from because I had looked up rates for Landmark and they had something at like 375 for 75 months, and I'm like, oh, that's really good. Well, I should be able to. I've gotten
Actually, a little high.
I've got TurboTax now 4% for 75 months on a 3-year-old car. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And so
interesting because we got well, this was 2 years ago, but we got 2% on ours. So.
Yeah. It could be a little bit. Well, is it newer, brand new, or used?
Oh no, it was a 2008 with 138,000 miles on it. Yeah.
Oh wow, and you had 2%. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. I should say not from Landmark though.
Okay, but yeah, but I had done my rates. I looked around and everything like that. That was the best deal out there. So with the longest term too. You know what I mean? I could have gotten shorter term stuff like that. So I knew the rate. I know the cost. I go in there, and he still spent 2 freaking hours at a dealership, 2-3 hours. You know what I mean? How can it be? How can this be? So the first time, the finance guy is busy, so I still fill out an application. Joe Schmo at the sales guy says, "Oh, so send it to the banks." I know it's all about the banks. They just send it back. A little while later, the guy says, "Well, yeah, because I'm with TurboTax, and this is one of those scary but good things. I'm sitting in the break room. He sends it off to Landmark. He also sent it off to where I have my bank account with, which bank, whatever bank I have my account with, just to give two. Sometimes one will, to have a rate, and one
sometimes
won't
it'll be better. Right? One will be better than the other. Yeah.
Right. Usually one maybe lower rate but shorter term. Higher rate, longer term. Okay. So he comes back and he goes, guarantee, this bank's going to get you at 5.5%, and I'm like, well, that's not 4, and he goes, well, yeah, Landmark was at 6, and I'm like, why? And he goes, well, I don't know, because again, he's just the guy that plugs in the numbers and hits the button, and then Landmark sends back the response, and I said, well, you need to give him a call. Well, we can give him a call. Yeah, please give him a call. So in the meantime, I come around the corner, and because I'm a car guy, I actually met the F&I guy who I know. So I can fill him in real quick, and he goes, oh, I'll give him a call. So he goes and gives him a call. Sure enough, he comes back out, and he goes, yeah, $3.99, the extra quarter points, because you have to do take it out of your check if you want the extra quarter point. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? So it's not a direct, deposit thing. They take it out every time. I'll save a quarter point on that. That's fine. So now I'm down. I got to my $3.99. That's great. But again, it still was a hassle to get the $3.99. Now I'm in there, and the car's under manufacturer warranty. So I do actually buy an extended warranty. And the guy looks at me and goes, well, I didn't think you'd want to buy one. I knowing you, And I go, listen, I'm sold on extended warranties. I'm not sold on the price of extended warranties. All right.
So, yeah, they're quite pricey.
Well, right. Because it's a profit. F&I, which is finance and insurance. I mean, we used to laugh. It's called found income. It's just this place to go get some more money from you now that you bought the car.
Mm-hmm.
So
insider insight here.
Yeah. So I said, so what's the 100,000 on this thing, which would give me 70,000. That's 30,000 miles on the car now. I said, it'll give me, 70,000 miles when it most needs it. I said, how much is it? And he's got a little pad out, and all of a sudden he calls up a guy, and all of a sudden the thing on the pad changes my payment by $50. And I said, $50? And I'm like doing the math in my head. I'm like, that's $3,000. How much are they selling me this warranty for? because the Kia already has the engine and transmission are already covered by the manufacturer to 100. All right, so you're not having you an extended warranty is not going to be worried about engine and transmission. The factory's already got that. I said, so this thing should be a little bit cheaper. He goes, well, I don't know. I'll call him. He goes, oh, $29.99. He goes, you were right. And I go, yeah, I know I was right. $3,000, right? And I go, no.
Hey, Dave, Dave, you can do math.
I can do math. I said, I didn't walk in there going like, I would be told there'd be no math. No, I was expecting math this time. So because that math is your best defense. So
remember those teachers who told you, you'll be using math. You will be using math. You may not know you're using math, but you're using it.
I'm just not using cosine and graphing and making a chart. No, I'm not doing that.
Or
I already know
who knows?
X on the unknown.
They didn't teach us Venn diagrams, though.
So I go, listen. After discussing it with a little bit more here and there, he told me what his cost was, and I'm like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, because now I have a number in my head. And he goes, okay, so 2,400, and I go 22, and he's like, all right, I'm not going to argue with you, 22. So I got the warranty from $3,000 down to 2,200.
That's something.
So yeah, it's something. So I listen. I know what it costs to fix cars. Air conditioning costs you $1,500 if it went down. You know what I mean? These days, it's just the way it is. So
well, especially if you don't work on your own vehicles like we do, because we work on our own vehicles.
Right.
So it's
exactly. I would rather I'd rather drive it into the place, have the guy shuttle me home, call me when it's done. Yeah, that's me.
There you go. A lot of people are like that.
But I got the long term. I said, hey, now that you got my rate as low as it did, I can afford to get a warranty. So, yeah. So I mean, I got a new car, Kia. Well, new used different car, 2018 Kia Soul. I'm driving.
What color? What color?
Hey, white. It was white. But I like those commercials. Remember they had the little, didn't they have the hamsters?
They had the hamsters, yep.
Do with that. You can do with this. You can do with that.
You do. You get the hamster. So now Dave's driving a hamster car, just so y'all know.
It's a hamster car,
if you see Dave with a white hamster car, we need to get you some sticker flames to put on it or something.
yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. Oh, I tell you. So there you go.
That was my rant. It's just that my rant is that even when you're prepared, you still gotta nickel and dime these guys. You know what I mean? It's like I still had to fight, even though I'm totally prepared. I know the price of the car. I knew the what the finance rate was, and I wanted a warranty. And it still took over 2 hours, and at a car they didn't have to sell me. Yeah,
so much fun.
Always the quotes we have that we laugh about the car dealership. Because someone says when I worked at Andrew Toyota, it says, Andrew Toyota, yeah, I spent a week there one day.
Yeah, that's about it. We used to call them vacuum cleaners, because you guys would come out and you'd be like, we literally would be just looking, and we'd tell them we're just looking, and they'd be like, following us around. It's like, I just want to look. We don't even know what we want yet.
But then there's the other person who I had to bump into, which is like, hey, how can I help you find this? Well, I don't know. And it's like, well, big or small? I don't know. 2 or 4? Or I don't know. I'm like, what are you doing on my lot? I mean, come on. You've never seen anything like you park next to it in the parking lot. Your friend doesn't have a car. What do you hear? Why are you here? Do you go into a grocery store going, I don't know what I want to get?
They do. And those are the people who stop their cart in the middle of the aisle and kind of just look like they got deer in the headlights, and they don't know because there's too many choices. It's like, no, I know. So I
have at least an idea for me.
I have a little car anecdote.
We're like spiders. When I was a kid, we're like spiders. That's what I kept on always laughing at, because it's kind of like we have a web. The little hut that we all stand in, and the cars are out front, right? The cars are the web. And as soon as a fly comes by the cars, the spider comes running out to see if we can capture him.
That's a good analogy.
But sometimes they fly away. No, that's not what I want. And they go away, and the the spider has to turn around and go back to his little hole. Oh,
So one time we were at a Mitsubishi dealership. I don't even think they're in business anymore. But a brand.
Yeah, they are. They're still.
Well, no, I'm saying the one that we went to. I don't think they're in business anymore.
Right,
but,
right.
We went and it was not close to closing, so this is not an excuse. And we were looking at a Mitsubishi Eclipse because they had just come out and they looked kind of cool. And we wanted to drive one. We wanted to drive one, so we're like, okay. So the guy comes out and he goes, hey, can I help you? It's like, yeah, these are pretty cool. Can you tell us a little bit about these cars? So he's talking about the car, da 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 da. Never once offered us a test drive. You have the spider has the fly.
Yeah, I know. No,
near the web.
Right away, man.
And I looked at my husband after we talked to this guy for like 10, 15 minutes, and we were like, then he walked away to go do something. I'm like, he never offered us a test drive. I don't know where the hell he went by. So he lost a sale or a potential sale. I mean, probably wouldn't have bought the car, but we would have liked to have test drove it, because that's what we do. We shop for probably weeks before we make a purchase.
You got to do it. Told my mom that. Just listen. If you do all your research online, you're gonna go crazy because as soon as you get on the lot, the first car you think you're gonna buy is the one you're not, because all of a sudden you're gonna look at it in person and go like, well, that's not what I thought it was at all.
Exactly. You got to test drive.
Yeah, you need to narrow down to 3, and then you need to go out and kick the tires, and then that's where you work at from there.
Yeah, because I know my brother-in-law just bought a Honda Pilot. He was sold on the Mazda CX-7 because that's the car that he was reading all the reviews online, and it had everything he wanted. He got in the car and it didn't have a certain adjustment, and he's a tall guy and it was real uncomfortable, and so they kind of walked away.
Move on.
Yeah, and so they moved on to the Honda Pilot because that was another one they were looking at, and they ended up with the Honda Pilot because it had everything they wanted. Totally different looking cars. The Mazdas are much better looking, but the Honda was a better fit for his lifestyle.
Exactly.
So, he went for the cool looking car, but then ended up with the more practical looking car because it was a better fit, and that's how it goes. So yeah.
All right, we better move on. I got to go to the bathroom, so we got to move on.
Okay, let's hang on. Let's hip happenings. Okay, everybody, hip happenings. All right, Dave. The one I have, Open Doors Wisconsin or Open Doors Milwaukee. I know you've gone. I've gone. This year it's going to be virtual, September 26th through October 11th. Everybody look that up online. They're going to have virtual tours, 360 tours that you'll be able to, do that. So then, let's see. You had a couple things as well.
Yeah, I still want to go to the rave real one. I don't want to look at it online. I got to go to the rave Open Doors for real when it comes around again. That's the one I keep on my checklist.
Yeah.
Anyway. This one kind of grabbed me. It just it sounds like it's not like it's just a new open place. They're bringing it back around, but that there was something that I got attached to it, which I thought was even better. But this Maya Ophelia's becomes a vegan Milwaukee staple. Have you ever used them? Because
I have not. Because they're a food truck. I think
that was right up your alley.
Yeah, they did pop-ups and they were a food truck. Yeah, so I have not.
Right. So the place where it hangs out is a place called the Mothership, which I had never heard of. It's a bar restaurant type thing.
Yeah.
All right. But one of the pictures they have on their page is. We are not your 21st birthday party, place. So it's like I love it when someone says, if you have a crowd, we don't want you. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what that is. All right. So I really appreciate that. There was a restaurant that we loved that said if there's 6 or more of you, don't come here. But what I wanted to read, I was trying to. Okay. All right. Here's what they talk about coming into their place. All right, y'all. We're all cleared by Milwaukee's health department to operate with capacity restrictions. There are things you should know before versing. First and foremost, we completely reserve the right to suspend our duty of good customer service niceties to people who refuse to abide by our rules. Why is this number 1? Because the health and safety of my employees or my family is the most important to me, and if anyone fucks around with their safety, it would not be pretty. Fuck around and find out.
I love it.
our second will be operating not at near capacity, because that would be, she's more or less saying that would be stupid, more or less. But this is a fantastic, listen, I still got to make money, but we're going to do it right, you know? So
Well, they're
if you
protecting
like it, don't come
everybody.
here.
Yeah, they're protecting
See,
everybody.
everything they're doing is, if you don't like my rules, don't come here.
There you go. It's like, but they're basically saying, if you're going to be a COVIDiot, we don't want you as a customer.
Exactly, and that's great, you know.
Yeah.
Also, I noticed that Hippy Toms is open this weekend. He usually hasn't been open that much lately. I know we've talked about Hippy Toms. So
yeah, we've talked
I
about
think he's open this whole weekend as well until Monday. They showed a picture of the chair room. You've been to Hippy Toms, right?
I haven't been there in probably.
Oh, you haven't been there?
Probably,
Oh.
I don't know how long. He's been in business for how long?
Oh, I know. It's yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it's like
I was probably
knows.
in my 30s, and I'm damn near 60, so.
But there's a chair room where it's just a part of a barn, and it's just like from floor to ceiling with just wooden chairs, you know. And there was a picture of that, and I'm like, yeah, that's still there.
That's awesome.
It's like Mount Chairmore or something like that. So that was good. And then I do want to talk about the vote early, vote often that the president wants us to do.
Which is illegal. Just so everybody knows, do not vote often. You can vote early,
re-vote.
But do not double vote.
If they don't, do not re-vote.
No.
My goodness. But the Milwaukee's going to be at the Pfizer Forum, the 4-1 Forum. And then West Allis, I know my area, from the 19th to the 31st, but dates they do it and where and locations, please check with your voting area. But please vote early. If you don't like the mail thing, that's fine. We got plenty of time to vote. You got a whole week to go in there, swing by, and vote early.
Well, and if you absentee vote, mywisconsinvote.gov, you can go on there. You can sign up to have the absentee ballot sent to your home. You can check once it starts generating there and you're supposed to have it. You can check whether it has been sent. You'll obviously know if it comes in your mail. And then once you send it back, and I advise you, once you get it, just fill it out and send it back right away. It will say that it has been received. So with this mail slowdown, make sure if you're going to vote absentee that you do everything by the book and right away, and double check on there, because you can see when it has been received. So then you know that they have your vote, and then they cannot count them until election day. But once election day comes, they will count them, and you will be part of the system. So make sure you either vote early, vote absentee.
The mail-in voting and the absentee ballot is the same thing. Just so everybody knows that. It's two same exact ballot.
It's the same thing.
It's just that you mail in your absentee ballot. That's really how they should be saying it. It shouldn't be like, well, it's a mail-in ballot. No. It's an absentee ballot that you're doing a mail-in with. Right. That's the confusion people have. Like it's two different things. But you do have to request it sometimes and make sure you're there and all that. So
and you can follow it online. So
drop them off in person too. So even if you can print them out online, there's ways you can print them out online, but you can bring them in personally as well.
Well, and just to say, he was also saying go to the polls and bother the poll workers to ask them whether your vote was gotten and counted. They don't know. They can't know. It doesn't go there, because a lot of times the polling places are churches and schools and public buildings. They don't have that information there. They can't get that information there, and all you're going to do is slow down the voting process for others.
And the deadline is the 3rd. So what are you supposed to do? Deadline. So what are you supposed to be? Wait until the day of the voting, last day, of November 3rd, when you're supposed to vote? Did you get it today? Well, no, they can count it tomorrow. Who knows? Don't re-vote.
Yeah, do not re-vote, and don't bother poll workers. If you did vote absentee, check online. If you voted early and you voted in person early, they've got it. Don't worry about it. So don't make this more complicated than it needs to be. So that's our advice. All right. Well, we're going to go to pearls of wisdom, because I do want to do this, because everything that's been happening in the world. My pearl of wisdom is compassion is the radicalism of our time. So that's from the Dalai Lama. Whether you like the Dalai Lama, indifferent, or love the Dalai Lama, basically what he's saying, and considering our times where everybody is being so obtuse and butting heads, look at the other person and have some compassion. So if somebody has an opposing viewpoint to yours, whether you think they are, you're thinking, oh, this person's, never gonna get it, or they're, not all right in the head, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're still a human being. Have compassion for their humanity. Have compassion for where that may have come from. You don't have to agree with them, but you don't have to actively be nasty or mean or any of that. Just get along. Agree to disagree and walk away. That's what compassion is. And it is radical because we don't have to, engage in this us versus them. If we de-escalate and we don't play the game will go away, and we won't have us versus them. It'll be all us. We're all on one team. We're all together. So please.
Yeah, we all just get along.
We all need to get along here. So please practice compassion. It's a radical act rather than being combative and hateful. So there's that.
I did see a meme that made me chuckle and go like, gosh, I guess I'm old. Is that it was a bunch of people in England, maybe France, something like that, where they all just went out and they just stood in the road, quiet. They didn't move, they didn't riot, they didn't march, they didn't protest. It was a silent in defiance. They just stood there, and then they said, "Why don't we try this new radical approach to to doing it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, so radical that Gandhi did that." It's like they think it's a new approach.
But you know what? It is
approach.
It is to this generation. It's a new approach.
Right.
Because Gandhi's from a long time ago.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm old now because I'm like, well, no, this isn't the new approach. This is the old. It's the new math. No, it's the old math.
Yeah. Be nonviolent. Be non-combative. Let's just.
My teeth are getting yellow. All right, gotta go.
All right, wait a minute. I gotta say my thing. So we'd like to thank our viewers and listeners, Dave's mom, my neighbor Pat, Chrissy, hi, along with anyone else who stumbled across this rambling. If you like what you're hearing, please tell two people so they can tell two people and we can become internet famous. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, hip.org.critical, our Facebook page, MoKE Milwaukee, and you can send me a tweet at Alexa_MKE. Everybody have a good one. We love you. Stay safe, Milwaukee. All right, bye.